You've covered it as usual. You're good at this,
You,
kid.
you.
You gotta keep it up. Hey, this is Phil Joel, and you're watching Bandkind.
Phil, it's amazing to see you again. There you
So
are.
we are.
Is that Heather?
Yes.
Hello. How are you? Congratulations to you guys both for the green room. It was such a beautiful idea, and the fact that it's happening is so huge.
I'll let you guys get to it.
So you're backstage here right now. This is our. So we make candles here. We make room sprays, all kinds of cool stuff here.
And what he's talking about is the green room. Great name. Love it.
And we have a record store section in here now too. So I'm living my dream.
I'm so excited. The last time I saw you, I emceed one of your concerts, and we had the opportunity to talk about something called what I didn't know at the time would be called the green room. And you guys are going to bring in all these different spaces for people to actually walk through and see how they can live this new way of life, room by room, including music and a stage. Yeah.
We've kind of got a little stage. We've done one little show in here with a guy named Noah Pope and Daniel Nunley, and that was really fun. So we're kind of set up to do little shows, coffee shop kind of situation. Yeah, new season of life. It's pretty fun.
Amen.
My kids are like big now. They're big kids.
Yes. Isn't that strange to kind of like look them in the eye a little bit, right?
I don't know what happened, man. They just grew up.
Well, speaking of your son, Eden, and your daughter, Finley, they are on this new project with you, Arms Around the World. What was that like working with your children?
It's kind of normal. It's kind of normal around my house. I mean, we were always doing something and creating something. My son is, he's such a good musician. He's really good. And he's 19. And he just runs circles around me in all of it. So whenever I can just like lure him into the studio, it's going to be a good thing. And then my daughter, she's got a great voice. She really does. She loves singing. And but she's in film. She's more in the film world. And so again, if I can get her in the studio and sing some background vocals, it's great. And but the song itself, they're really supportive of the song and what it's representing and the project that it's a part of. New Heaven and New Earth record, a compilation of different artists coming together and talking about the idea of how can we as believers, as Christians, as people of faith, be better stewards of the planet. And look after this beautiful green marble that we've been given to ride around on. And how can we just, honor God in a way via looking after the resources we've been given, all that kind of stuff, the green kind of stuff. And which sadly can get a little off track in conversation, and become political and all this kind of thing. But the reality is we can all agree that we should look after this place, So the song and the project is about that. It's about stirring that conversation and saying, yeah, it's okay to talk about issues that we're facing on this planet in regard to ecological stuff. So my kids are all about that. I mean, they're like, Dad, you've been telling me since we've been little kids to clean up our rooms. Why don't you clean up the room? Why doesn't your generation look at cleaning up the planet a little more? Because there's some tough stuff in the future if we keep going the way we're going. So,
and I just think about I feel this might just be my point of view, but New Zealand, I think, is one of the most beautiful green spaces on the planet that I've been aware of. And so it's in stark contrast to some of the things that we see in America, I'm sure. And your kids have seen that, right?
Yeah, they have. And I think New Zealand, it's such a small country. It's really just two little islands, in the South Pacific, and it is beautiful. And I think we've realized that the resources in the forest and our rivers and ocean, coastline, I mean, it's finite. And we've got to look after all of this stuff. It's not just a given. And so I think growing up in that understanding that conservation, and the root of that is conserving it, looking after it. I think that maybe in the States we're sort of starting to catch up with that now and realizing, it's not a given that we have fresh air, that we have clean water, that we need to be conscious of our resources, where they're coming from, what we're doing to make sure we protect them. I think a lot of people want to talk about it and want to become more of a part of the solution.
That resonates with me so much. I grew up hauling water in Montana for animals, and every day that was my routine. And it was, like you said, finite resource. And we were secondary to, can I say, cash cow? And that would be the animals that helped give us life. And so, Phil, I definitely resonate with the conservation effort. Talk about working with this guy, Brent Milligan. He's done a lot with Stephen Curtis Chapman and Michael W. Smith, but I first encountered Brent in that Big Tent Revival initial self-titled record. Wow. And I'm so excited he's coming back on this record.
He did a record way back with a band called 7 Day Jesus.
Yes, love them. Everybody Needs Love is one of my all-time favorite songs. 7 Day Jesus.
Music director for Stephen, and it's just got his hand in a lot of cool things and kind of produces when he can, and so whenever I have a project that I'm like really excited about, I'm always like, Brent, come on, man, give me a little bit of time here. Let's get in the studio, make this happen. So he was kind enough to jump on board with this, which is cool.
I love Mariah on this record. Mariah Smallbone, some people will know her as. Aaron Cole, fantastic. And, your song, I just, you always have this special thing that you do to your music and have for as long as I've known Phil Joel music and Newsboys music, the stuff that you've done. And I love that it starts out with sort of a cosmos sort of feel. And then it comes in and moves into these beautiful guitars that sort of elevate in the mix toward the end. And you don't even realize you've moved really from that cosmos feeling into like an organic sound that's coming out of Music City. And I just so beautifully done. What's that?
That's why I always like talking to you, because you pay attention to stuff. And it's really nice. As obviously we're doing what we do, but it's just nice when people pay attention to the details. I've second guessed the intro on the song. I'm like, oh, it's too long, it's not right. But I did want it to have that sort of cosmosy, sort of big feel at front there, and then breaking into the groove. But
it absolutely does.
I appreciate your
and just then the images, always with Phil Joel music, you always get those beautiful images. And I see you lighting that flare in that song and screaming into the sea. Have you done that? I've literally done that, screamed into the sea, and it's feels useless. But the great news is we have someone bigger than the cosmos, that created the cosmos, that hears us. No matter what the noise is around us. And it's just beautifully written.
He does here, and he does redeem, and even yelling at the ocean. I mean, I love the ocean. I grew up around it. I grew up on two little islands, and the beach was a stone's throw away always. And the ocean itself is facing different challenges, but the wonderful thing about it is God has placed all this kind of cool stuff in there, that when we do the right things and when we step away from doing the wrong things, it will heal. It'll heal itself, and that's kind of it. That's kind of redemption. That's like so cool and so classic God. And so he redeems and heals us, and so he creates pathways for redemption and healing with the planet. And I think that's really important. And I think it's important for us to look into those things, those pathways, look into the ways that maybe we're doing harm, look into the ways that we can look after things, and allow God to redeem. and do what he does and heal and restore and bring about new life. And that's, to me, what better way to honor the creator than look after the creation, right?
Amen. Yeah. And clearly that's been in your and Heather's heart since the beginning, since you decided to name your son Eden.
Eden, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then opening the store that we've
Yes.
here in our little town. We live in Franklin, Tennessee, and which is kind of basically a suburb of Nashville. And we opened a store here 4 months ago on Main Street. It's called the Green Room, so it's a play on the music thing. But everything in here is earth friendly and people friendly. It's made of materials that are sort of rather renewable or recyclable or recycled glass, for example. Or the company is doing really cool things in the planet and looking after people. We might as well take that money and perpetuate good with it, you know. So
Amen.
yeah, so the store is an extension of what we feel the Lord's been putting on our hearts. Yeah.
And I really feel like you've been that for a lifetime. I mean, I don't know if you, I don't know if that's true, but I do feel that in you. I don't feel like this is off base from who you are, Phil Joel.
Right. Cool. Oh, that's good to know. That's good to hear. It really is, because it is, you know how it goes. We've been in church world ministry stuff for a long time, and these are weird times right now, and it's really nice to be able to find things that we all agree on. And we can all agree that we want to leave this place better than we found it for our children and our children's children, right? And we got to get out of this mentality of, well, it's all going to heck, and we're getting out of here. No, this is a great way to witness to the planet and say, hey, we care.
Wow.
Our God made this. He's the artist in this, and we care about his art, and we want to look after this and nurture it and love it and bring life where we can. So
Oh my goodness.
that's fun, and so I appreciate your encouragement.
Absolutely. And I appreciate this record. What's your favorite part of this record?
The conversations that we're all having. And so, we've got all these different musicians coming to the table and saying, okay, what do we do? Like initially, like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? We're talking about creation care. How can we express the heart of God through our songs in regard to how to, look after this gift that we've been given? And all these different people coming to the table with different ideas and different backgrounds and different thoughts. And we are all just sort of laying aside our preconceived ideas, and it's really cool. And I think really good art is coming from it. And that's important. Good conversations, good fellowship, good hang time, but good art. Jason Roy's song is so cool and so right on point. And I've watched him come to the table and wrestle through some things and go, what are we doing? How do you see this? And how, this is what I've been taught. This is what I know. And the conversation is really cool. And I think that's what we hope that this project will do. Just stir more conversation. Take us out of the silos in our boxes and say, hey, how can we look after this thing, a little better, be more responsible, be good stewards. And right now we sort of have our little feedback loops, and we have our ideas about what we think about all kinds of things, and we're in our little boxes talking to ourselves. But it's nice when we break out of them, come to the table and go, hey, what do you think about this? Because this is my idea, and what are your ideas? And so it's been really, really fun. And that's what we're hoping to continue to stir, that conversation.
I like that you brought up Jason Roy. Also, his daughter, I could hear her in the mix and his song. And so it's not just that you guys are making great art, but you're making great art alongside the next generation, people that you have taught for a lifetime. And the fact that they get to make this art alongside you is very meaningful, and it gives them a voice too.
Yeah, it's really important for this next generation coming through. And it's important for us to look at the things they care about. And they care about the planet. They care about the fact there's too much plastic out here, They crave authenticity. And they want us to care. And we do. we all do, you know. And so we're
Hmm.
all learning, and we learn from one another. We learn from generations who have gone before, and we learn from the generations who are coming through. And if
Hmm.
we humble ourselves and go, "What do you know?
Hmm.
What's important to you?" Then we can have good conversation and become a part of the solution. But
Hmm.
it's good,
Yeah.
and we just want to say, "Yeah, let's talk.
Hmm.
Let's not make this a taboo subject." You know?
What does Brent
Yeah,
Milligan think about partnering in this kind of effort?
you'll have to chat with him about it. I mean, he's an outdoors kind of guy. Loves loves camping and hiking and all of that kind of stuff. And so this is important to him. And I think it's kind of
Good.
made him kind of go, huh, yeah, this is something we should be talking about and writing songs about even and creating art about
Yes.
to sort of stir the conversation. And that's what art is for. It's for us to jump into someone else's ideas or for someone else to wrap words and music and melodies around what's going on in our hearts. And I
Yes.
think we're all concerned. I mean, look at the weather right now. It's nuts.
Mm.
You know, and what is that? I don't know. Maybe it's just a part of the big patterns, or maybe we're doing something that we can, um, maybe curb and
Hmm.
something in a different direction and start thinking about those things and not allowing them to become political and
Yes.
angry. Um,
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
love that you're providing this music through these other artists, through yourself, through an example of what your heart is. And people are going to sing these songs and then they're going to start to ask questions about these lyrics. And it's going to really help them create a new footprint in their own heart and mind. And that's a really beautiful thing.
I like that. I like that. Well, thanks for paying attention. Thanks for listening.
Absolutely, Phil.
Anything else? You've covered it as usual. You're good at this,
you,
kid.
you.
You're good at this. You got to keep it up.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I so love you on stage. The last time you just like did a full loop around the stage and you're like, there's so much room here. And then like you just invite the audience in and then the audience just takes in all the stuff that you're doing and they feel um they feel like they're making a difference to your show, which is so strange. And I love that kind of
Cool.
I
That
love
was
that
so
kind of
fun, that last show we did.
it
I
was
loved
so
that.
fun. I did
Electric
too.
guitar, acoustic guitar, and a big stage. And it was just,
Yes, yes. And people were like, unbelievable. He is an amazing, I mean, you speaking, you playing guitar, you talking about the songs that you've written. I mean, all of it. I just
cool.
am so proud of you as an artist, and I'm grateful that you're walking into this place right now.
Well, I appreciate it, because we all, you second guess and you sort of think, oh man, is what I'm doing making a difference? Should I go do something
Yes.
else? And then
No.
I keep getting invited to go and play, and I'm like, well, I guess people want me to come out
Yes.
and share my songs and my stories, and so yeah, I'll keep doing it as long as I keep getting invited.
Do it. Good. It's a deal.
All right. Well, thanks for talking.
Thank you so much. We've been talking to Phil Joel. Oh my gosh, so excited about this new record. And I bless you, man.
All right. Well, I'll leave you to it.
All right.
Thanks
All
again.
right. Thank you so much. We'll see you.
Thanks, see ya.
Bye.